Rescue your authentic nature, rescue your authentic essence. What is that supposed to mean? What is my authentic essence? Rescue it from what? Why? How to rescue it? So this is a very important topic, whether you are interested in healing or getting psychologically better or wanting to awaken to the truth of reality. One needs to go through this crucible of rescuing one's essence, what's true about us, what we're born here with, certain innate tendencies that we have, innate tendencies, our natural expression of the divine. Yeah? So this has been stifled and oppressed by layers and layers and layers of repressive patterns that were created in childhood. So I'll give you an example. So we learn early on through being wounded, and nobody gets here without getting wounded in some way. That's how it works, it's part of the game. Through being shocked and hurt. We were simply ourselves, innocently, childishly ourselves, and something happened, shocked, hurt, neglected, unloved, or even something small. Our essence, our childhood nature, child nature, essence, what's pure, innocent, free, very sensitive and aware. And then something like that happened to all of us. Shock, hurt. That's what some master called it, vital shock. And so then we contracted in some way, and then we started being different. Why being different? In order to different than our authentic nature, different than what's right, what's true, what's spontaneous. We started to be different in order to avoid pain, to avoid being yelled at, avoid being criticized. We started being different in order to get love and approval. You know, as a childhood essence, as a child, we value belonging and connection. It's more important than authenticity and being real. So that's why we sacrifice authenticity, realness in order to fit in order to be safe. Yeah, and that is fine. Everybody has done that. But then these patterns of not being able to be myself, they are actually creates a lot of problems in a relationship. And basically my God-given or nature-given potential fire, the juice, is squelched, is oppressed. This shows up in different ways. Let me give you some examples. I cannot say no. People ask me to help them out. People ask me to take them to the airport. People ask me to do these things, and I really don't have time for that. I need to do something else. But like, I cannot say no. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take you. So the yes man can't be able to say no. Can't be able to put a boundary when somebody is nasty or somebody is doing something out of integrity, and it needs for us to speak up. Yeah. To be real, we can't. So we are hiding, we are avoiding, maybe we are ghosting, we are not speaking up. Yeah, inability to put boundaries, inability to ask for what we want, ask for what we need. Avoiding a difficult conversation, that's very important for the relationship, it's very important, but I avoid to be honest, emotionally vulnerable, because she may be or he may be upset with us. They may reject me. So all of this dynamism, you know, this oppression of, there are some patterns of can't be myself, can't express, ultimately comes down to some emotional repression. Basically, in childhood, we learn that some emotion is bad. It's not okay to feel that. We are afraid to feel them. We are afraid to express them. And as soon as there's some joy, enthusiasm, anger, sadness, love, affection, playfulness, as soon as one of them is pushed down, because it's not allowed in the environment we grew up. As soon as one of these is pushed down, all of them are kind of pushed down, and we are becoming the false me, who is pretending, who is hiding, who is trying to be perfect, who is trying to be good, who is trying to be something else in order to get something else. And then we lose the goodies, man. Hey, I'm here, I'm alive. There's a inner compass here. That's the thing. Our authentic essence, in our authentic essence, there is a compass, there's a knowingness of what's right for me at this point. If we dig deep and we go deep inside, there's that compass, that conscience. But we have been estranged from that, so we are just following protocols of being in a certain way according to false societal conditions. And ultimately this create contractions in the body, and this create anxiety, and then out of this contracted anxiety, reactive energy, then there's a lot of thoughts, and now you have a lot of thoughts, and you try to meditate and you can't meditate. You think, oh man, meditation is not for me. But what's underneath all of these thoughts is this kind of repressed, squelched, oppressed true part of ourselves. Yeah. So in the spiritual teachings, in the fourth way, they say that awakening, discovery of presence and discovery of the true nature of all things cannot be happening from the false sense of me. So we first need to kind of loosen up the personality self, diminish those painful patterns, let them go gradually, and then what's true about us is the seed case. That's the seed case for our future conscious presence. The presence is here. It's aware right now, but it is unaware of itself. Yeah. But this presence, being aware of itself, can only emerge out of our authentic nature, out of our essence, what's true. So we can't go from the false self to enlightenment. We have to go from the false self to our authentic nature, authentic self, what's true, which is individual, is depending on body type, it's depending of kind of certain DNA and all of that. So now you might not be interested in enlightenment and all of that, but you know, basically if you come to me or to come to any psychotherapist because there is some psychological suffering, the psychological suffering ultimately has something to do with my essence has been shocked and hurt, and I have become different. And that something different is really very different than who I am. And there's a big contrast, And then I'm living a false life, and then it's painful, and I need help with that, yeah? So even if you are not interested in enlightenment, but you are just interested in more being free, spontaneous, care less about what other people think about you. Now, you can still be a loving, integrous, good person, but less involved with how to appear, what they think of me, how to pretend, how to look, my image. All this energy is spent in useless pursuits, and all of these were created in childhood. Yeah. So the way to unpack this, the way to free oneself from this, actually, is to become more aware, more conscious, and you can't just stop being inauthentic. You just can't do that. It's not possible. There's a whole decades of being like that. So we need to be more conscious, pick up one pattern of inauthenticity, just one pattern, whatever it is. Can't say no, afraid to be myself, afraid to have a difficult conversation, whatever that is. Pick up one pattern, and then the way to go is to bring awareness to this pattern and investigate it like a very good scientist without trying to change it, because you can't change it, but you need to get to the root causes of it, finding the subconscious seeming payoff of being going against myself. And through the conscious, benevolent observation of all of this, something will have the power to transcend that inauthenticity, to have the experience of, oh, though I'm afraid, but I said no, and it's okay, you know, then it gets easier. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff and this video spoke to you, join me on Sunday. Join me on Saturday. So a week from now, I'm going to do a one-day immersion Saturday from 10 to 5 p.m., both in person as well as online in Nevada City. This is going to be mostly kind of shadow work exploration using awareness-based somatic tools. We need to get underneath the mind, more into the body, bring awareness to it. We're going to have a small group container. We are going to have some fun, edgy exercises, games, group processing, breath work, various other engaging, fun, edgy exercises. And pick one item, pick one pattern that bothers you, yeah, and just meet me. And you won't be able to just unwind all the repressive inauthenticity, but we pick up a sector, and then you get the sense of what's the direction, what's the work. And if you wish, you can continue later. All right, so here's the link below about this, how to sign up, and feel free to ask me any questions. Ciao.